All right, so I'd like to introduce to everybody here. This is Mr. VDL from Van der Lacheweg in Holland. VB, in a way, VDL has, or actually Sweden has had sort of a love affair with VDL stallions. We have had many successful stallions in this country coming from you. And I'd just like to get a little bit of background to how it all started and why Sweden and why do you think you've been so incredibly successful here?
It started when we met Jonas and Helena, and we started with first one stallion. It's called Everest, and it's I think why we started with stallions was because we are at home in Holland. We did breeding, and we wanted to get a little bit more international and bigger. And so we saw a change in Sweden. It's also a good breeding country. Nice people is also one of the reasons, and we always happy and invited. They're good taking care of us always. And our goal in breeding is to have the best stallions, have the best sport horses, have the best mares, and to have them or to make them. So Sweden was a country that was in a little bit more developing stadium than in Holland. So it was a nice and an adventure for us, and to give it a try. And with the first time we went with Everest, that we had a big hope for ourselves. He did a good thing, and then the other ones came, a lot of good stallions that had a good success here. And we met some really good and nice people that we worked together with.
Yeah, I looked up on our breeding indexes here in Sweden, and actually you have in our top 5 for breeding stallions, there's actually 3 VDL stallions. Of course, Cardento being the shining star. Yeah. What's Cardento doing these days?
He's having a little bit holiday. He's not working so much, but he's breeding a good number of mares every year in Holland. He's happy, and he's out in the paddocks every day, a little bit light work, and breeding mares. He's getting a little bit older, so he can't have the number of mares anymore that he had before, but he still is doing really good. And also in Holland, he is one of the successful jumping father of jumping horses. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a pretty amazing stallion. So tell me a little bit about your operation in Holland. I understand you also breed.
Yeah, we breed about 70 mares, 70 foals every year. That means that we breed about 100 and 110 mares, and some of the mares don't get in foal, of course, and some of the mares are sold when they are in foal because our number is 70. We want to get more. Mm-hmm. It should not be some kind of thing of a factory. We want to have it also as a breeding program and breeding plan, and then we buy 100 foals extra every year from breeders. From where we think we're going to be good sport horses, or maybe a good stallion or a good breeding mare, and then we sell all kind of horses in every age, in every level, sport or foal or breeding mare, doesn't matter, or stallions. So we can have a lot of clients. We can make a lot of clients happy for what they're looking for and what they need.
As far as this year's stallion test here in Sweden, how many stallions have you entered into this one?
We have 4 stallions entered, and 2 they're quite automatically approved, not 100%, but almost, because they were approved in our stud book and have done a very good test. Mm-hmm. One is a Comfortuna, is by Berlin. He's going to stay at Gransbo for the next year, and one is by Corino. He's standing with some of our people we work together with in Norway, and he's approved last week in Denmark, and now probably also today here. And then we have 2 stallions who are doing the whole test. And one is by Kazal and one is by Mr. Blue. 2 very good stallions, totally different horses. But I think 2 very good, interesting stallions and good jumpers.
Yes, and those stallions will be coming up here shortly. What strategy have you applied to get your stallions out all over the world? We just spoke briefly before this interview, and I think you counted that you actually have stallions standing in at least a minimum of 15 different countries in the world. How come you're so successful?
In Holland we have on our logo says kwaliteit wint de strijd. That means quality wins everything. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing we're aiming for. We try to get them as good as possible. And when you have a lot of good young stallions, you can't get them approved in Holland, all of them. And if you could, you don't get enough mares to see how will they be developing breeding. So we have been always, but I think this comes a little bit from that we are Dutch people. We always try to look a bit over the borders. So we have good young stallions that we think could be a good jumper, a good breeding stallion, like Cadento was and Everest was and other ones. Then we want to give them a chance in Holland or another country, doesn't matter. But at stations where they get mares and with riders who take good care of them, because that's also an important thing. If they're not good enough, they have to be sold again as a sport horse. And if they're good enough, they have to have a good base for a good international career, like we had with Corporaal now. He was standing here with Magnus as a young horse, and now he's with Man and Bayard, doing really good. So that's also a new star, we think, and it's a good, how do you call it, a good thing, like how our plan is working. We think it's a good horse, bring it to young, to here to show for breeding, have a good training, and then goes level up to another rider. And then his foals are doing really good. We have now some foals also from him in Holland. And that's a little bit the goal we try to make.
Well, you've been extremely successful. So for the future, when it comes to the future of your operation, and I assume that this relationship that you have with Sweden and the Swedish breeders and Swedish stallion owners and so forth definitely will continue, yes?
Yeah, I think so. For me, yes. And we have a lot of good contacts here, and with Jonas and Peter, we work for many years. And they help us to with all kind of things because we are not able to travel up and down and everything, and so we need good people here. And with them, we have some good people who help us again. And as long as we're working happily together and successful, it's no use to stop. It's only continue and go on.
Exactly. So, is there any of all the countries that you have a working relationship with? Is there anybody else that you have had as many successful stallions as Sweden?
In Ireland, we have some really good stallions. Only not in the number, but in percentage. You know, how many stallions we started and how many stallions succeed. For sure, as high percentage, but not in the numbers because the breeding is there even smaller and more difficult. But that's I think with Sweden and Holland and Ireland, I think they're the most and Germany of course also the most successful countries. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this interview, and also I'd like to wish you good luck with the 2 remaining stallions that are up for jumping here in just a few minutes. And yeah, we look forward to even more future collaborations with VDL.
Hope so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.